Hello, everyone. My name is Sydney Chapman, and I am one of the committee members for the Gary International Black Film Festival. Today, you're in for a treat. You are the first witnesses of our new venture, which is called Real Talk with the Aunties. I'd love to introduce you to them, but we're going to start with our first auntie, the founder of the Gary International Black Film Festival, Auntie Sharon Torrey. Come on, Sharon, come on in. Hello, Karen. I like to describe Karen as a person is someone who will make you a plate, but before she makes that plate, she's already grown the vegetables that you're going to. You feel that nice warm. See, this is something about Karen that you don't know. Karen makes her own herbs and spices, and one year she gave us a bunch of different spices, and so I still hold on to that very dearly. But Karen is here with us this today to share with us about this real talk. What's up, Auntie?
Hey there.
Our next auntie that I would love to introduce you all to is Tony Simpson. So Tony is the type of auntie that will give it to you straight, and you got to be ready for it. So welcome, Tony.
Thank you for having me, Nisi Poo.
And finally, we have our third auntie, who is the hostess with the mostest. This is Ludine Kilgore. Come on through, Ludine.
Mwah. Welcome. Hello.
Well, welcome you all. This is our first venture into Real Talk with the Aunties. All things film related, all things Gary, Indiana, all things sisterhood, womanhood, and everything in between. As we get started, I wanted to start with sort of the beginning. And I wanted to sort of hand it over to Karen to just talk about sort of the inception of the Gary International Black Film Festival and talk a little bit about where we came into this new venture of the Real Talk with the Aunties.
The Gary International Black Film Festival it started as a labor of love and remains a labor of love for not only us, but I think a lot of people in Gary, Indiana. And it's interesting because people call me the founder, but I didn't do this alone. Actually, in the basement of my dad's house in Gary, Indiana, on Mississippi Street, I grew up on the east side of Gary, went to Emerson High School. I was doing work out here in Seattle with several film products and would come home and talk about, the Seattle Black Film Festival and things that we were doing here. And a friend was like, well, they'll never do anything like that in Gary. And my response, which is always what I say, is, well, why not? And so in the basement of my dad's house, Walter Jones and Saida Holt and I kind of cooked this idea up. We decided to do the film festival. This was 2010, and we were like, okay, we're going to do it in 2011 in February because Black History Month. It seemed to make sense at the time. There's more on that story and why we won't do it in February again. And we drew on some of the relationships that I had developed here in Seattle, working with the Seattle Black Film Festival, and we curated a set of films. We reached out to one of the things that we were very, very, very clear on in the very beginning was that we wanted to do as much in Gary with Gary and not only spend our money in Gary, but use the resources of Gary to produce this film festival. So we reached out to Dr. Vernon Smith, who his organization owns the Glen Theater. And we said, we got this idea that we'd like to do, a film festival. And Dr. Smith graciously agreed to allow us to rent the Glen Theater. And that first year, we curated. I think there were. Oh, look, I do have the program with me because I'm always trying to be prepared. This is our first festival program, and we curated 4 films. And the very first film that we showed at the Gary International Black Film Festival was a film by a then unknown filmmaker called I Will Follow, and it was directed by Ava DuVernay. And one of the other things that we really also wanted to make sure that we captured as part of this venture was to make sure that there was always a local film that was featured in the Gary International Black Film Festival, because we knew there was talent in Gary, but little did we know how much talent was in Gary. And we've successfully been able to feature Gary films for the entirety of the 15 years that we produced the Gary International Black Film Festival. But the first film that we screened was this film called Catastrophic Magnitude by filmmaker Calvin Standifer, which was about his trip to Haiti after, one of several hurricanes. And then we showed another film called Death of Two Sons to expand the breadth of Black storytelling, which is a film by Ulrich Brown, which was about Amadou Diallo. So we got political very early. And then we rounded it out with this interesting film with a very, very young Kerry Washington called Night Catches Us. And we didn't know. I mean, as we went into this, we asked a lot of people to support us and help us bring this film festival together. And it was really interesting. We were met with, I don't want to say resistance, but people would ask us, well, why do you want to do a film festival in Gary, Indiana? And our response is, why not? And so, and what was at the time of a February start date, about, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 days before the festival was actually supposed to open, Gary, Indiana had the third largest snowstorm in the history of Gary and Lake County. And we were like, well, there's our sign. We're not going to be able to do it. But just like Gary does, the streets got cleared, the snow got moved away, and we were able to launch our first film festival, in a snowstorm of almost biblical proportion. But yeah, and we did it. We had a sold out crowd, and that Monday we incorporated.
I love that story, Karen, because you just think about how one, the resilience of the festival, the resilience, the vision. But think about this. We had Ava DuVernay, Kerry Washington. We had all these heavy hitters at our festival the very first year. That's impressive. And then tell us a little bit about how Real Talk with Aunties came along.
You know what? When we bring filmmakers, it was a casual thing. But I had to help these filmmakers understand what it would mean to come to Gary, what we had learned about when we bring films to Gary. And I casually said at one point, think of it as a film festival produced by your aunties to help manage expectations about what we were able to deliver, that this was not a market festival, that this was a people festival. And so as a filmmaker, if you come to the GIBFF, what we can promise you is love. What we can promise you is that we'll help you get from the airport to the venue. What we can promise you is a real family centered or a family oriented attitude, and an audience that cannot wait to see your film, that cannot wait to talk to you as a filmmaker. And what we've learned over the years is so many filmmakers don't have that opportunity. They get accepted to a festival, and then it's just like a machine. But the focus on the filmmaker and their story is largely lost in some of the larger film festivals. And what we wanted to do was to let filmmakers know that when you come to Gary, it's going to be just like going to your auntie's house. And so that's where the festival produced by your aunties came up. And then after that, we were like, one of our producers on this particular show said, well, why don't y'all just lean into that? And so here we are, talking about 15 years worth of film festival memories and, what's on the horizon for some of these emerging and established filmmakers.
So, Tony, I'm curious to hear more about your story and how you started with the festival.
A classmate, and At the time, I was sitting as a night donor fund advisor, observing, as I always do in this community. I am about creating value in my community. Well over 60 years of arts and culture, many endeavors. And because Gary had lost all of its 22 movie theaters and now film is here, it's like, they're going to need me. And I said that like I said it, they're going to need me. And so when I saw who was producing this festival, and I knew of all of the other players, I gave her a call. And I won't share her last name, but I called her and I called her by her last name. May I speak with Miss B, if you will? And there was a pause and a click. And so I immediately called back and I said it again. And she, casually said to me that she has not been that name for many years. And I shared with her respectfully that you will always be that name, just like I will always be Tony Washington. And she fell out laughing, of course. That's Karen. And we just chopped it up from there. And we've been tied at the hip since. 15 years later, we were able to expand and close with just the same caliber of talent, if you will, with a film produced, this year by Mr. Ryan Coogler. And it was Judas and the Black Messiah, and screening that and having the cast and, those behind the scenes of that film live and in person, was another feather in our cap, I feel. And so we're going to continue to churn out great film, bring great talent up close and personal in a community that we are now the movie house in this community. And we're bringing independent Black cinema stories for us, by us across the diaspora. And we are educating along the way because many people here, they didn't know what a film festival was. They're still learning. And I'm very pleased to be a part of this teaching journey that we are bringing to Gary, Indiana, with the Gary International Black Film Festival. So yeah, I've been here, ever since.
So, Sharon, I know that you're itching to add your 2 cents in there about that phone call.
Yeah, that was a phone call for the ages. Listen, when I tell you that I picked up the phone, I saw this number on my phone. I was like, I don't know, Gary phone numbers. Click, and that is exactly what happened. But literally, this woman was like, "You're doing a film festival. You're gonna need me." And it was like we had never missed a beat because we hadn't seen each other since high school.
Yeah.
We had not seen each other. We had grown up,
Yeah.
had, gone our separate ways, had kids, gone, our kids were in college and grown. And here,
Grandbabies.
right, great, we got grandbabies, and out of the blue, this voice. And when I tell you that literally my heart swelled 1,000 times to have my high school bestie give me a call and say, "You are going to need me," was all that I needed to know that this was the thing that I should be doing, Gary.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's been wonderful. And we have long lives ahead of us to continue this journey.
I love that, and the trifecta of your trio. The trio comes together with Ludine. So, Ludine, share a little bit about when did you come aboard?
So I believe it was on year 3. I was talking to Kelly Chukwubarimfrey, who's a team member that has since transitioned. And I called him asking him about Haiti because they had just had the earthquake. And so I said, I really wanted to do something to help. And he was like, sure, come on up to the university and we'll talk. I said, what are you doing at the university? He says, I'm at the film festival. And I just got so excited. I said, a film festival in Gary? I said, where, when, and how? He told me when, and I had tickets to see the Circle City go for the weekend. I gave those tickets away. I've never been back to a Circle City, and I've been at the Gary International Black Film Festival since then. And that was year 3. Year 4, I was a volunteer. I absolutely just overjoyed and excited about this being my hometown. And so with that, I've been volunteering for a couple of years, which transitioned into a festival manager. I traveled the world as a flight attendant. I lived in many cities, and every time I went, I always went to the movies, museum, anything art and culture, I'm there. And so to have this here in Gary, I said, I'll be here till they kick me out. And so from there, became a festival manager, 45 years in retail management and also in production. And little known story how things happen. I was at Emerson in my freshman year. I'm an East Side girl as well. And I actually studied dance under one of Tony's programs, the summer program with the Youth Service Bureau. I taught at Spalding School dance in the summer. So I think it's unique that all of us have this unique connection with each other. And it was just by happen that we are all working together. And I am a film lover. I watch a film every day. And so it was just fitting. Gary, film, art and culture, Emersonian, East Side, dance. And so that's, I am here as a festival manager, and I'm always out and about in the community regarding advocacy, activism, art and culture. And so with that, I'm frequenting a couple of businesses, if you will, in the community. And so it just made a beautiful collaboration with businesses and community and organizations. And you got to be a part of the Gary International Black Film Festival. And so that's a little snippet of how I came to be with the International Black Film Festival, and I'm here forever.
Thank you so much, Ludine. We are in this was year 15. Our year 15 was in October of this year of 2025. What have you learned in these 15 years? I'll start with Tony.
I've learned resilience, forgiveness, ingenuity, because Gary in itself is a unique place. There's so much talent here, and it takes a lot to please the people here in Gary. You know, the epitome of talent is from here, which is Michael Jackson, the entire Jackson family. But there is so much talent here. And so what I've learned is that we're going to continue to teach the way our community learns, to continue bringing top shelf entertainment in the arts and cultural space to to our beloved community.
I've learned that my foundation of being from Gary is being put to test every day. And it's a love test, if you will. I've learned to, uh, as my mentors say, you got to stay with it. And the truth and the stories, so many stories that I didn't know about that I'm still learning about, I have to make sure our community knows about. And I get stronger every day. This festival has made me stronger in so many ways. And the relationship building, that's one of the things that I really love the most. And and educating.
Yeah, don't do it in February is the first thing I learned. Because, scary winters are brutal. But yeah, I mean, so much. One of the things that, that kind of struck me, because this festival is made of film entries now and curated films. And when we first started out, reaching out to filmmakers and asking them to submit their film to the festival, I never really realized how important laurels, those little things that you see maybe on a film poster that looks like a little leaf and it says official selection of this particular film festival. I never really realized how important that is to filmmakers. So that was one thing that I learned. And what, over the years, it's helped me understand that when a film festival, a film is selected by a film festival, that's kind of like a stamp of approval. That's saying, okay, this festival reviewed this film and thought it was worthy. And so the more laurels that a filmmaker gets for their festival, the better chance that they have that it'll be accepted into larger festivals or even get distribution. And so it was so surprising to me that how important those laurels were to the filmmakers. Also, how important it is for filmmakers to get feedback for their films. A lot of a lot of filmmakers, independent filmmakers that make short films, never ever have a chance to hear what the audience thinks about their films because they're shorts, and there's not a lot of places now that the internet has expanded to. I'm that old. I'm before internet old. Uh, and with the expansion of the internet, filmmakers are now able to put out their films on YouTube and on various platforms and get feedback from audiences. But when we first started the festival 15 years ago, that wasn't really a thing. And for filmmakers to be able to hear an audience laugh when the film is supposed to get a laugh or catch their breath in a moment of excitement is another thing that I learned is so important for an independent filmmaker.
I love that, Sharon. I think the biggest thing is we are doing something that is rather unique for the city of Gary. Some people will say, "Well, this is just film. It's just a movie," and it's
Oh
not
no,
just
it's
a movie, Tony. Right? Like,
so
think
much
about that,
more.
Tony. It's not just a movie. It's much more than a movie, right? And can you speak to that, Tony? Can you speak to why it's not just a movie and why community is so important and your role in sort of connecting our our Gary community to the international side and the things you're doing behind the scenes? Tony is like the auntie that gets online and she's like posting everything online. She'll send us the Facebook post or the Twitter post or X post or whatever it is now. And so I'm like curious to know, like, from your point of view, Tony, it's not just a movie.
So this whole movie space, and with our community not having access to sit in their own community and enjoy film was crucial. It was like a no-brainer to us, but many people hadn't thought about that. And not just any kind of film, independent Black film. And so for me, and educating us in these times where certain acronyms have now become a taboo, and I'm speaking of the big D, the big E, the big I, it's more important, even more important, that we continue to do what Karen mentioned, curate film, um, you know, the films that are submitted to us from across the diaspora, because now is the time that people realize it's really a brown world after all. And I said it, I'm that auntie. And
I
so,
told you.
yes,
I told
we
you,
get
right?
an opportunity. We welcome it. We welcome it. And this is a place, with Gary being, if not the first chocolate city, nation time, Gary had
Mhm.
all of that here. So
Yeah.
we stand, what the young people say? I'm a dancer, ballerina. We ain't 10 toes down. We on our toes, baby. We on our toes. And so we take it seriously, for our community, this community that is predominantly Black, to be able to sit in their own community and see themselves, and to be up close and personal with filmmakers that look like them being very successful. Our community alone boasts successful filmmakers like a Charles Murray, like a Dion Taylor. We can go on and on with the filmmakers that are from Gary that people don't even realize. And so to know that if they can do it, those that are sitting, the young people coming up, I'm passionate about them knowing that you have a place in that place. You have a space in that place, I should say. So, yeah,
Right.
it's
Right.
really important to me. We run a fellowship, and, we've had the great fortune 4 years now to bring aspiring creatives and established creatives in the rooms with Emmy, Oscar, NAACP Image Award winners that they would not ordinarily have an opportunity to be in the room with. And when I tell you that intensive 6 weeks of listening and learning, when they walk away from there, many of them have gone on to do great things, even in this AI world. They've generated AI movies, because the world is changing. But that's what we bring, that's what we give, and that's what we offer. So it's vitally important that we continue to do the work that we're doing and making sure that those dollars remain in this community. Don't believe what
Oh,
you're
I just
hearing
love.
out there. You need to come here and see it.
That's right. I think I love the fact, Tony, that you are so focused on the socials, like you stay connected, and I think a lot of that has to do with your love for Gary itself, because you keep up with a lot of people that some folks don't even realize we're from the city of Gary, that were raised here. You're able to
Absolutely.
find those people and bring them back, and I think that's so important to our narrative as well. I think a lot of times when you see those other film festivals, those are people transplants. They're coming into that city for that festival. But our festival is different because these are people who live here, who are supporting it, who are working towards it, and then finding those other folks who are from the city to bring back that, to just creating that one-to-one, that bringing it closer. So it feels more like Sharon said earlier. It feels like a family. So I just love that about
That
what you're
that it
doing
is.
on the socials.
That it is. And I guess that's the role of aunties. Bring your buns home. Charity starts at home.
It is true, and I think the other thing that it brings to the forefront is, the thing that I've heard a lot of folks, like say is, you don't have to live in Gary to love it, and so being,
Mhm,
sort of a expat, if you will, someone who
mhm,
grew up in Gary, went to Emerson, shout out Emerson High School, and all of my roots, my history, who I am, right, is baked and born in Gary, and to be in other places doesn't mean that we don't love Gary. And you see it all every time, when I'm out and about or someplace, and I see somebody from Gary, we can have that shared reality of our love for our hometown, and why it's
Yes.
important to us despite the narratives. And that's another thing that we think the film festival does, is that we literally take control of the narrative about what Gary is and what Gary isn't. And
mhm,
for so long, we've let the mainstream press and the mainstream media that we receive in Gary, which is mostly our media, comes from somewhere else. There's very little
mhm,
local hometown media that is generated in Gary, and it's mostly based in radio stations and small newspapers.
mhm.
But everything else that comes into Gary tells Gary that Gary is one way, and we know it to be much more rich, much more complex, much more well developed than what the mainstream media would tell you about Gary. And so it's really important for us to bring not only stories about Black people to Gary, but stories about Gary from people in Gary to Gary, to
Yes.
counterbalance negative narratives that have been placed on us in so long. And sometimes when I talk to filmmakers that I'm trying to recruit to come to Gary, I have to tell them that Gary is probably the most valuable real estate in the state of Indiana. I mean, we have access to transportation, we have access to fresh water, we have access to land and resources that other cities in the state of Indiana do not have. And I think that they have been mad about that, and it's controlled by Black people. I think they've been mad about that
Yeah.
ever since Mayor Hatcher, right? And
That's
every
right.
mayor and administration since then. And so that when we see what's going on in our current political climate, we've been seeing that in the state of Indiana, like I said, since the 70s.
Yeah.
It's something you mentioned earlier, Sharon, about we got political very quickly on that first year. And it's like, to be honest with you, just looking at these four boxes with all of us sitting here, this in itself is political. This is actually revolutionary and it's radical to have, three women, Black people, Black women coming together to create something that has not been done. You got to have a lot of vision. You got to have a lot of intuition to be able to create something different and go against what people are used to. Like, we are creating a new type of narrative for Gary. And I just feel like this is such a radical idea to say, hey, I have the audacity to come up with this idea to have, Black women running a film festival. And then when you come here, you feel like you're a part of our family. It's not pretentious. It's not, where, what have you done for me? It's like everybody feels connection to this festival, whether you're working as the background. Shout out to our amazing team who's volunteering as well. Even the volunteers of volunteers, folks everywhere in the city, from Lynn and Dr. Wallace to, anybody and everybody that's in between all of that. They know how special this is. And I think it's so important that we continue to have these conversations, these real talks with the aunties, continue to be in their faces and have the audacity to say that we matter and we're here and we're present. And I think that is so important to this, to sort of name that in this conversation.
And while you say
Absolutely,
it's
Sydney.
revolutionary, I feel like it's actually what Black people have been doing since Blackness is doing what is needed in our hometowns, our communities. So I don't want people to think that we are extraordinary. I want people to understand that these are everyday people feeling a need in their town because there was the absence of that. The fact that there are no working cinemas in the city of Gary, there's no working movie houses in the city of Gary, just means that somebody needs to bring those films and those stories here, plain and simple. And when we start to get into this extraordinary act or the fact that Black women are doing this, it makes it puts that. Well, you probably know the term, Sydney. That magical Negro. They put, we are not magical Negroes. We are people with day jobs, or some of us had day jobs and are now retired, that see a need in our community and are just trying to fill that need. And it's been going on since the beginning. And it is literally what, an auntie is supposed to do for their family, is to bring resources.
Hey, TT.
Hello. Hello. Hey. Sharon, just share with us what your business is, first of all, because we need to know so we can help our money grow with the GIBFF.
Well, thank you, Tony. Thank you. Well, SDM Investments is a boutique wealth management firm. And what we do is we work with individuals to help them create and, the most important part, maintain wealth. And a lot of times people think of wealth as something that's only attached to a monetary aspect, and it's so much more than that. At the end of the day, I try to get my clients to focus on wealth as being a comfortable space and place that will provide you with the quality of life that you deserve.
What drew you to the festival?
Well, Tony, I've actually traveled all over the country to various different fine arts and movie type things, and the sheer fact that a group of individuals came together and they said, we want to bring film, and particularly Black film, to my hometown. You didn't have to tell me again. It was just, it only made sense. It's in my backyard. And let me do this. If I don't say another word, Tony, let me commend the Gary Black International Film Festival crew. Because if you have not attended it, the crew itself is so phenomenal, and it just amazes me year after year after year how they come up with and they put these film festivals together, which every year just seems to be mind blowing for me. And so I really want to give kudos to the Gary Black International Film Festival crew, because you all do a phenomenal job, and I'm amazed every single year.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And you know what you just did? You didn't see me because you were driving. I had my dukes up on you, girl. We are the GIBFF.
Okay,
Say
okay.
it with me
So
now.
I stand corrected. You know, you know, on this Black Friday, Black is at the forefront of of my mind. So I'm saying Gary Black, but I will GIBFF, Gary International Black Film Festival. I got you.
So, Sharon, this is Sydney. I'm one of the
Awesome.
committee members,
Awesome.
and I had a question for you. What does Gary, Indiana give you that no other place does?
I think Gary, Indiana, and I tell people quite honestly, I've lived north, south, east, and west. And my selection was to come back to the Midwest and specifically back to my hometown area. And I think what it gives me is the camaraderie. And when you grew up in a place like I grew up in Gary, Indiana, and I know we've come a long way down, but there's a certain foundational aspect to it, Sydney, that I couldn't get anywhere else in the world. And I that from the people who are still in Gary, like the GIBFF crew, who's giving back to Gary and putting things. And I know the crew is very diverse, but when you can get people to come back who grew up in Gary, who have an appreciation, who are extending what they've experienced across the world in their professional careers, and they're coming together in a group to provide what GIBFF provides. I can't get that nowhere else in the world, Sydney. I just love Gary. I love the high school I went to. I'm going to keep it neutral. I love the people associated. I love the people that I have come to know over the past 60 some odd years, and it's no place like home. I think Dorothy said it best.
What do people get wrong about it?
I think people, it's a perception, and marketing is a powerful tool. And I think the media has given Gary somewhat of a black eye, but I think that could have been countered if we had better marketing and we told our own story. And with this advent of technology, just like what we're doing here at TT's, I want to let you all know I think it's brilliant. Gary can be taken to the world, and I think the GIBFF is doing that. It's the one thing that I hear, and here's another kudo, and I'm not giving it just because I'm on this talk. One of the best things that I have, and I swear to you not, I was in an airport and I had my GIBFF t-shirt on, right? And on the t-shirt, the GI is in red and the rest of the writing is in black. I was in the airport and somebody flagged me down and said, "Are you from Gary, Indiana?" And all I could do is say, "Smile." And I threw the kudos to them, and we began to have conversations and stuff. And they grew up in Gary. They lived out in California. They still had some family in and around Gary, but not Gary proper. But I think people get it wrong about what they hear. And as this gentleman expressed, he connected to the GI real quick and things. And because he had not been home in quite a while, he asked me, "How bad is it?" And I told him, I said, that's not my story. I can't say that it's that bad. We got, at the time, we had a lot of vacancy and things are changing. But some of the things we were discussing, I had to tell him, that's not my story.
I
So
agree.
that's
I
my
Yes,
story, and
agree.
I'm sticking to it,
absolutely.
Sydney.
Well, thank you, Sharon. We're so glad to have you on
That's
our
right. That's
first
right.
venture. Thank you for your vision. Thank you for investing in our festival and constantly big upping us. Wearing your shirt in the airport is huge. Thank you so much for wearing our merch around the country. That is very important to us as well. But thank you, Sharon. Thank you, Tony, for bringing Sharon on to talk to us. Isn't that wonderful? I just love that. Somehow we got to figure out a way to get people to say the GI first instead of the GB, but I don't know. Maybe it's just the, like she said, it's the black. That's what makes our festival so important. A total blessing. So somebody's here.
Oh,
Hello.
What's
So
up,
great to see you.
y'all?
It is not Anastasia.
Yes, honey.
Anastasia. I
So,
love it.
Happy Friday.
happy
Ooh,
Friday
girl,
to
you
you.
doing it. You doing it.
I'm trying. Look, I'm trying. I'm trying.
Thank you.
Well, Tamika, thank you for being with us today. We really
Oh, thank you
appreciate it.
guys so much for having me.
It's been a while, and I'm so glad to see your face. Like, even though I see your things happening online, it's nice to like reconnect today. As a three-time award-winning filmmaker, Tamika has performed on film, TV, experimental projects for platforms such as Showtime, NBC, Netflix, Amazon Prime, Aspire TV, and HBO. So this is our Gary girl. She's coming from the city. Just want you all to know that it is possible to come from a city that everybody has said doesn't exist or shouldn't exist or we shouldn't have these folks here, but we are coming from the like the rose that grew from the concrete, right? And Tamika has grown her acting abilities into a skill set that includes producing, writing, directing, and filmmaking. Everybody, welcome Tamika to our Real Talk with the Aunties. How was your Thanksgiving?
Oh, it was great, but it was tiresome. I kind of cook, and I did all the things: the cornbread dressing, the sweet potatoes. I had like 15 people over. So here in Austin, anybody who doesn't have a place to go home to,
Whoa.
they are welcome here. So,
Now that's
A
some
little bit
real
about like
Gary hospitality.
oh yeah, if when people came to my mom's house, if she didn't have nothing else, you got a hot meal.
one of the things that in the early, I mean, Tamika, because you've been coming to the festival uh, for quite a number of years, especially when you have time, and we always appreciate that. But I think one of the things that really struck me about your presence and your the value that you add to the festival is that you grew up in Gary. So I guess I would be very interested in how just your journey and your acting career.
Well, I'm gonna say in high school, I always wanted to do stuff, but I never got a chance to. Like, I wasn't in the theater in school. I wasn't, but I had music. That was one of my other loves because it's something that I give a lot of attention to now. But when I got out of the military was when I first did it, and I never forget. I had gotten a divorce and I was back in Gary. My best friend had heard something on the radio that they were looking for extras for this movie. And I didn't have a car. She drove me to the casting call one night. She waited out in the car and I signed up for like just doing extra stuff. A movie with Halle Berry was my first movie I ever did. And that was Losing Isaiah. And so
Oh,
I just sat and kind of watched what they were doing, and I just felt this, like, kind of love growing from it. And at that same time, I was going to school at Indiana University for theater. Uh, and so, well, actually, I was a computer major, and I just got my transfer from Indiana University the other day. And I was looking at it and I was like, I was a computer major, but then I walked into the theater and I was a computer major and I took all these theater classes and I would go to Chicago and do extra work and stuff. And so it just grew from there. By the time I got to Texas, I was like, I want some real roles. So I started studying here with different acting coaches. And I was doing whatever I could. If there was a student film, if there was like anybody just doing anything, I would do it for free. And I started growing my little reel and putting stuff on my resume. And the more I learned, the more I started wanting to do more stuff. Like I wasn't getting like the heavy roles, so I started writing for myself. And that was, I believe, Drama was the first short film I wrote. I think it screened at, the Black Film Festival at Gary International Black Film Festival.
Thank you.
There you go,
One
girl.
thing, one thing
Imma
that
get
I've
it
heard
right,
is
y'all.
that Indiana University, there's so many things. That's a great foundation where a lot of people find a lot of things as far as accessible, their passion. And so that's one of the things I love about Gary is having the university there. And of course, that's been our home for over 14 years. Wonderful.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I studied. I took a directing class. I did all of the acting. I studied Shakespeare there. So for me, and doing those plays like Medea, and I got my first taste of musical theater at IU. So that to me was sublime, being able to mix the music and the acting.
Who was
So
your
to make I'm
theater
curious.
director at IU? Who was on
Jerry
board
Taylor.
then at that time? That's my alma mater, IU.
Oh, I didn't know that. Jerry Taylor was the theater
Gary
director.
Taylor.
Yes.
Who raised you, and how does that show up in your work?
Well, I was raised in a single parent household. I call her Cheryl the Pearl, but my mom. And man, she was a strong Black woman. Not only did she raise me, my brother, and my sister, but she raised her brothers. Actually, my aunt is my sister aunt because my mom had to actually legally adopt her after my grandmother passed away. So, my mom, she's a strong Black woman and, she raised me and that shows up in my work.
I love that. We're thinking of in what ways, if any, did your aunties show up for you?
Um, well, my aunts, they are, kind of like I said, like sisters to me, and they're always there, kind of a driving force. I take a lot of what I do in real life that happens and put it in my films. Drama was actually about my mom and my aunt. When Drama had to stand up to the bully,
Wow.
my mom had just had my younger sister, and my aunt was getting bullied at high school. And my mom went up there in her nightgown and she was like, okay, who's the ringleader? She was like, no, you gonna get her. And when I tell Drama, when she's fighting and I'm like, "No," light into her again. Those were my mom's actual words to my aunt. So, you know, everybody in the family knows that if they do anything, I'm gonna mine it and I'm gonna take it and put it in probably my film or my comedy or my music.
Oh yeah, there's
Absolutely.
nothing that's sacred. There's
Oh no.
nothing sacred. So tell us a little bit more about your comedy and your music. What are you doing with that? What's on your plate right
Um,
now?
I am here in Austin, Texas. I'm in a band called Blue Vibe featuring Tamika Seretti. We do a lot of blues and soul and funk, classic rock, but I'm doing a solo project right now. It's called Sagittarius 1218. and I've written songs. I've actually produced them myself, and I'm recording. They were supposed to be released next month. I'm hoping the album will be ready. But that's some me, people always ask me, are you an actor who sings or are you a singer who acts? And
Yeah.
I can't choose. So I just whatever comes up, that's what I do. I kind of go with the flow and go that direction.
Is there anything else, acting wise or writing wise, filmmaking wise, that you're doing that's on your plate right now?
Well, the business has changed so much right now, and I am so grateful to have had three different projects drop in the last year. There was Bad Thoughts on Netflix, there was The Runarounds on Amazon, and you can currently see me on Beyond the Gates as Miss Anastasia. And I'm super excited about that. Yes, girl, yes. Because she's gotten a whole storyline
I
now
love it.
and they've developed my character. So I've been coming back. I actually just got back from filming what I believe will be my ninth episode. And I've got some more coming up. Yes.
Okay.
In January. So that's what I'm doing. But
I
I'm
love that.
Thank you, Tony. I'm constantly
I love it.
auditioning, but so far I don't have anything else to talk about. So I've been considering, I have a few projects that I've written, but like actually going into production and shooting them. I've been considering that for next year. Um, so right now, that's all I got besides the music.
An album release in Gary.
Oh, I would love to. I was thinking about doing an album release party here in Austin, but I mean, it would make sense to do it in Gary because my family's still there, my best friend is still there. So yeah, I would do it.
I want to take you back to your work as a filmmaker and the films that you've had in the past. And I'm always interested in, whenever I can get filmmakers who come to the festival a moment with them, I always ask them, like, what your festival experience is like across festivals. Because, yes, we have the film festival in Gary, but a lot of people don't get to go to multiple film festivals. So, can you talk a little bit about the circuit and what it's like? And compare and contrast to what it's like in Gary.
It is very eye-opening to go to many different festivals because you get to see how different ones work. What I love, first of all, I'm gonna say I was so mad because I didn't even know that Gary had a film festival until my mom one time she called me and she was like, "Are you coming to this? Did you know about this?" And I was like, "What?" And so I made it my mission to, come and bring one of my projects, and so every year after that, you guys, whenever I have a project, Karen, I'm like messaging her. I'm like, girl, when is the like? Can I submit and blah blah blah? And she's always so gracious. You don't get that connection though with other festivals. It's more of a kind of corporate thing. You submit your film, you pay money, and either you accept it or you're not. But if it's a place where they know you and they know your work, they're more welcoming. And of course, you guys are always welcoming. That's my city. I love it. And I don't know if I can show this,
Absolutely.
but I'm like, I always have my cup. I'd be like, uh,
I
yes.
love it.
So, for me, bringing my work there is a very personal, heartfelt thing because, like, the people who knew me before I started doing all this stuff, it means a lot to me what they think
Mhm.
of my work. So I hope that answered the question. I don't know.
And you know what we think of your work. We love it. And bring anything you have, anytime you have it. And it's always welcome. Always welcome to Gary.
Well, thank you. We do have
Absolutely.
a new film. It's a Gary native, and Mr. William L. Johnson and I were in it together. The filmmaker is Andre Hilliard, and
Okay.
he wrote it and directed it. So it's not my film, but I think we're going to be
Right.
submitting this coming year. Uh, But
Absolutely.
me and William want to work on coming to Gary and actually shooting something. So we talked about writing that, and I'm gonna step my game up and go out and do a feature.
That's a lot.
Wow.
That's a lot,
Wow.
Tamika.
Awesome.
That's a lot to
Yeah.
take on. A lot of, a lot of lives at stake. Because, the average filmmaker is going to employ, anywhere from 50 to 100 people just in the process of making your film. So let us know how we can support, get the word out. Because it is, it's the Lord's work. You're putting a
It
lot of
is.
people
It
to
is.
work, by making your film and producing a film. And one of the other things that we talk about a lot to filmmakers when they come to town, you already know this, right? But is how affordable it is to shoot in Gary, Indiana, and Lake County, and that the state of Washington also provides tax credits for filmmakers. So to make Gary and to make Indiana an attractive place for filmmakers to come and shoot.
Oh yeah, yeah. I know here in Austin, it's a little expensive, and I would love to come home. And so when I start reaching out to y'all asking questions, I'll be trying to get all the information I can, which I've kind of already started. Mark Spencer and I have been going back and forth, talking about doing some things and stuff. So um, I would love to come home and highlight Gary and give some of the talent there a chance to shine. And,
Absolutely.
both Will and I have talked about that.
Absolutely. We love you, Love Joy.
I love you guys too. Thank y'all so much. I know,
I
Sharon.
need that. I need
I was
that
almost
mug.
gonna do my Gary cup, but then I chose this one. So,
No, that's a good one. That's a perfect one. Thank you, Tamika. We'll see you soon, okay?
all right, y'all welcome. I'll see y'all soon.
I need that mug. I need that mug. Is perfect.
Oh, the one
I
from
love it, you guys.
I'm from Gary one. I really
Yes.
like that too. Yeah, we have to make some of those. Put the brand on it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, someone else is here.
I just love all this wonderful conversation about Gary.
Ebony. Ebony.
Hey,
Hello, Ebony.
what's up?
How are you? So
I'm
happy to see you.
good. Likewise, y'all looking beautiful.
This is Ebony Blandy. She's a writer, director from Atlanta, Georgia, whose work seeks to tell stories about Black girls and women coming of age on their own terms. She draws from her Southern roots to create original interpretations of Gothic tales, Black folklore, and Afrofuturism within grounded and supernatural settings. Everyone, welcome, Ebony. Hello. We
Hey
are
y'all,
on
thank
with
you
the real,
again.
with real aunties.
Hello, Ebony.
Hey queens, hey aunties.
Have you been eating a lot on Thanksgiving?
I made
Hey.
I made my own Thanksgiving meal yesterday with no help, really, sorta.
Oh wow, that's impressive. A
Hmm.
lot of
Yeah,
work.
I gave her all I had.
So Ebony, we're trying this thing out, this new venture, this media venture, where we're trying to bring back former guests of our festival
Hmm.
to check in with them, to catch up, to share with you just what you're up to. So this is
Yeah, I love it.
our Thanksgiving edition. So the question is, what's on your plate? What's on your proverbial plate? What's on your actual physical plate? What are you working on now? What are you doing since you've been at the festival? You came to our festival this year and won. Hello, hello. Get those laurels. Get those
A
laurels.
highlight of my career, y'all. I've been telling everybody about
Oh,
it.
that's
It was
awesome.
remarkable.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in regards to what's on my plate, I've been doing a lot of intentional work around physical wellness. Obviously, like us being in the space of creative, we have these vessels that are portals and everything is going through. And there's certain things that I just wanted to pay more attention to, given, certain things that I'm blessed to see through my family. And I'm like, okay, I see that sign, I see that. I see the things that I can strengthen. So trying to work towards more just like deepen intentional care, not making excuses. And Toni Morrison said, writer's right. So I'm trying to have like a more carved out schedule of what it looks like when I show up to writing and not treat it just kind of like when the spirit hit me, I'm gonna do it. It's like I love spirit hitting me, but to be able to be more of a conduit and allow a better space for the spirit to operate. I'm just trying to clean my house up more, I guess is what I'm saying, in all of the ways. I'm so blessed. I tell folks all the time that I was really fortunate to grow up in Atlanta because communities that look like me weren't foreign at all. And I was very used to seeing like different classes of Black folks. So like having those very like humble beginnings, but also seeing like the heights that I could grow to. I always saw Black folks in all of the spaces. So I feel very fortunate to be a part of a very flourishing Black community that helped raise me in Atlanta. And like in regards to just like my kinship folk, um, Black matriarchs, women who wear a lot of jewelry, who wear big hats when they go to church that you can't see around, who keep everybody in line, who might sell a little something on the side in regards to, flowers, if you will, different avenues of entrepreneurial ship. I've always seen women make sure that things were had not just for their household, but for the communities that were among them. So being a witness to Black women getting money is not something that I'm foreign to. And so I'm very, very fortunate, I think, as a creative right now, rooms that I walk into and I'm like, but what did the women that what would they do if they walked into a room and someone was undercutting their value? Then they will remind people of what they are being able to have at the table. And so I'm always reflecting on that energy and kind of calling that forth, if you will.
I love that. It kind of reminds me of just going to my next question about,
Mm-hmm.
in what ways, if any, did your aunties show up for you? And I wonder if you're referring to some of those
Mm.
women as aunties that kind of wearing the jewelry and the hats and the entrepreneurial
Yeah.
spirit, you know?
Yes. Like the women who and to speak more to that, like just being around women when I can see them in spaces and when they were when money was a part of the conversation and them not them walking back from those conversations was something that I really latched onto as a young burgeoning artist, if you will. Them knowing their value, them touting their like not waiting for anyone to speak to how great they were, them being like, yes, I know I'm really great at this and this is why you're going to pay me like this, right? Has always been an energy that I've been around. Even if I didn't necessarily know how to utilize it, I knew it existed. And so the imposter syndrome for me, like, I have a friend who says that she wants Black women in particular to stop saying we have imposter syndrome. She's like, because she doesn't know us to be imposters, right? And for me, I hear that, and I also can hold space for. I know that some of the rooms that we go into, because we haven't been sitting at the table for as long, we might feel like we don't belong here. But I'm just really grateful that all of the women that I knew, any space that they were in, they knew that they had the right to be there. So that was always a great and valuable tool for me to bring out. Like, I'm not at a loss of why I'm being invited to these conversations. I'm not at a loss of why I have insight that people want to hear. Like, I know this. I sit in my own brilliance and I'm aware of it. And I love the fact of Black women in particular having a awareness of who we are.
So I'm just going to ask you to shift your body just a bit and more into the frame there.
Here.
It's a little opposite of, yes, it's a little opposite of where you're normally
Mhm.
used to.
And I'm
Thank
already
you.
directionally challenged. So thank you.
I love how energetic you are and how self-aware and sure you are of yourself,
Thank
because I
you.
think a lot of times like you said about the whole imposter syndrome. We go into spaces where we feel like we don't belong there. And I just love that. And I think that I wonder if that has something to do with being from Atlanta too, given that sort of like the the South has something to say sort
Mm-hmm.
of idea, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think, uh, the film A Mess of Memories was submitted to the Gary International Black Film Festival, and this year we had just a little over 100 films that were
Mm,
submitted. We're a small festival. Some festivals 3, 4, 500, um, but A Mess of Memories just kept rising to the top. The
mm,
judges say a little something, about the content and the framing and the way you brought the characters in, and it felt like they
mhm,
could see, their aunties, their nieces, their family in that film. And so as we were developing that film, the idea came, and there were so many themes in that
mm.
film. And so that was one of the things that really sort of, you know, made the film rise to the top. And
Thank you.
then when we started communicating with you, you were like, absolutely, timely communication and those kind of things. But then when the team really started to talk about that film, A Mess of Memories, which is also screening this weekend, Award Watch Weekend, one of the things that kept coming up was, I see this in my own family. I see these
Mm,
problems that are in my life, or my cousin, or my auntie, or my sister are all like that, or have those traits and characters. Which then we were like, well, why don't we expand the conversation just beyond a filmmaker talk back,
mhm,
and so we decided to make it a brunch, a more expanded, lengthy conversation, and bring in
mhm.
professionals. I mean, was that a little overwhelming for you? Because sometimes we
Oh,
get so excited about a film that
yeah.
it can be overwhelming for the filmmaker. But those were some of the hooks that really brought us into making this a bigger conversation. So, what was that experience like for you?
Oh my God. Like most affirming, y'all. Seriously, one of the most affirming opportunities, experiences I've had thus far. I bragged about it to everyone. One of my good homegirls, my North Star, if you will, I think I shared with you all, Danielle Detweiler. I was telling her, I was like, girl, this festival, honey. When I tell you they spoiled me, I cannot return to not knowing that this is how it should look, how it's supposed to be. And she was like, "I'm so happy that you got that." So I hope that she can come with me for the next iteration of coming to y'all's festival. But and just holding space around the festival and the way that you all curate it and the intention around speaking to the craft of filmmaking and the themes, I think it's something that you all could teach a master class on. And I say that like truly wanting to give you all y'all's flowers. I think there are so many spaces in particular where Black filmmakers are invited. And quite often when we're invited there, it feels as though it is like a tokenized experience, right? Where they need that to check out that diversity box. Like, we have a other filmmaker here. And you can feel that in the way that the space is held for your film. You can feel that in the fact that you might have a block where there's someone doing a talk back and they haven't even engaged with your work, let alone in a deeper level. They haven't investigated, they haven't sat with the themes, they haven't done like a critical analysis around the work. And I think so often when Black filmmakers are particularly in spaces where there isn't the intention and the reverence of the culture there, you feel like someone's just like, patting you on the back for doing the film. Like, oh my God, you did the film, and tell us the height of it and tell us the low of it. But there's no inspection of like, okay, what are the themes that we're talking about? Like, what are the textures, if you will, of the narrative and of the visual? And so to be a part, I feel, of a very highbrow conversation in the way that you all had it, like bringing a professional there, where her skill set, like she's a doctor, like she has a form of education and perspective that really allows us to see it from a lens that also informs us. and an educational and uses science to back up. I don't feel like a lot of Black filmmakers are afforded that opportunity, to be honest with you. And I feel like in a lot of spaces where I'm invited, they might be well intentioned, but they spend so much time on just being a woman filmmaker and not the craft, not the practice of it. And I think you all do a beautiful job at holding space for the craft, obviously the glass ceilings that have to be broken along the way. But it's not just, it's not just talking about the oppression Olympics. As like a filmmaker and an artist, I don't really want to waste my time talking about the powers that be and the lack of access. Shit, we got like stats, full blown stats on this. Like, you don't need my voice to contribute to that already. What I want to speak about is the canon of work that we're creating, how we are archiving in real time, how we are building new myths, how we are countering narratives. Like, that's what interests me. And I think the way that y'all do it, I will forever be a fangirl of the festival. I told y'all, as soon as more things come my way, I just want to be able to share it in collaboration with you all, because I think that y'all deserve all the amplification. And I think that folks should be throwing sponsorships at y'all. So yeah, I'm just here to just like give y'all's flowers, because y'all did an amazing job.
That
Thank
is
you so much,
beautiful to
Ebony.
hear.
Thank you. Wonderful to hear.
Girl, and I love me some Danielle.
Isn't she everything?
Everything. Yes, she
Yeah.
is. But a mess of memories for me. I was primary caregiver for my mom. I got her quality of life extended to be 100.
Whew.
And I have 7 or 8 siblings. And so I was the primary caregiver. So when I saw that film, a lot of questions went through my head. Was this the director's story? Does the director have this dynamic going on in her family? Because I'm going to tell you, that one bougie sister, I could have wrung her neck.
Yeah, well, I definitely have the dynamic of experience. I'm the eldest of two, okay, and my sister
Okay.
is more so like my baby, if you will. But my mother, she has a bunch of siblings. My father has a bunch of siblings, so I've always seen the dynamic, if you will, of like how the different siblings, how they engage, how you have to relearn folks because you grow up with them and you see them as a baby, but now it's
Yeah.
like we're equals. And so just all of that, those dynamics have been something I love to play with. In the sense of hoarding, I myself, my mom, when she first heard I was doing this, she was like, "Girl, are you talking about me?" And I was like, "Mama, no, not this time." But not in the sense of hoarding, right? Like, my mom is a collector. My mom is an amazing, she can make a space that folks throw away. She can illuminate, right? She just like
Yeah.
everything that she touches flourishes, just to be honest with you. And so, in regards to her being a collector, that's something I really admire. And so, I did use a bit of that
Absolutely.
into Jovita to show how, like, when folks hold on to things that we see as junk, they might see it as a story. They might be holding on to it because there's a memory there that is directly connected to it.
Absolutely.
So that helped with some of the threading of it. And then I was a latchkey kid. My folks were both working all the time. And one day I lost my key, and my next door neighbor, I was never allowed to, be in folks' houses because my mom and them, they didn't play that. But it was raining cats and dogs, and I went inside of their house, and I couldn't even walk in of my neighbor's house. Like, it was so many things barricading. And we were in elementary school at
Wow.
that time. I didn't know it had a name for it, but what I did know is my classmate from that day forward, the friendship that we had forged changed. I think because I had seen behind the curtain, right? And so I knew from then the house that we keep, the environments that we live in, they're so intimate, they're so personal. And some of us are dealing with homes that are supposed to be protected, but they're not protected because we have folks who are dealing with mental health issues potentially that have these literal things that won't allow the home to be something that we can be safe in.
You did a beautiful job. And Mess of Memories, I also saw the acronym in it, which was MOM. And
Yeah.
so was that film dedicated to your mom?
So oddly enough, one of our executive producers, she caught that. She was like, "Y'all know this is an acronym for a mom." And when I always look for
Mm-hmm.
divine signs, I'm like, that ain't nothing but God. Like, what are we talking about? Like, the film is going to get done. So any doubts that I had, once it was solidified that that was an acronym for a mom, I was like, Spirit is all up and through this. So no, it was not in
Yeah.
direct connection of my mother, but I feel like anytime as a storyteller, I have opportunity to have Black women's stories and portrayals that are multifaceted. That's something I'm always itching to do.
Absolutely. You did a beautiful job.
Thank you, Queen.
Job well done. Absolutely.
If I may, today, your film was a catalyst for a deeper conversation with two individuals that we helped, but their new space is beginning to look like their old space. But it's also a film that was a catalyst for my oldest, my second to oldest. We're the oldest of grandchildren. I'm the oldest. And
Mm-hmm.
so it was a spark for conversation, which is what we want film to be. And
Mm-hmm.
we had our crying moment today. And my grandmother was the candy lady in the neighborhood,
I love
and she
that.
was a quilter. So when we stayed during the summers, we would get up at night, hear her with the machine making her quilts. But then in the daytime,
Mm.
we would help her make sure her shelves were filled for the candy. So your film, we were emotional today. It brought beautiful memories, and that's what we
Mm.
love about this film. So thank you for that.
Thank you for sharing. That means everything to me. Like, really just being able to connect with folks after the screenings, also too at the festival, is something that was so impactful for me. Having folk like trust you enough in that small moment of interaction, where they start to kind of share more deep in things, has been something that has really been like making me see that, what I know all along, that storytelling is such a powerful tool to connect us all.
But I just
Yeah.
want to do some lightning round questions, so don't think too hard about it. Just give me your
Okay.
first answer. So in regards to directors, I have one here: Spike Lee or Ava DuVernay, but I'm gonna add Ryan Coogler to that group too,
I thought you
and
were going to do
Judy
that.
Dench. Judy Dench. So Spike Lee, Ava DuVernay, Julie Dash, or Ryan Coogler.
Damn. Spike.
Okay, director's chair or acting trailer.
Director's chair.
Grits, sugar or salt.
It's only one way, and I don't want to have to fight y'all because we family now. But salt.
Okay, you got the right one right. Sweet potato or pumpkin pie.
Sweet potato.
Yeah, I learned something about pumpkin pie that is actually pretty interesting. It has a lot to do with our history in slavery, but we
Mm.
can talk about this another time. Best black film soundtrack. What was your best black film soundtrack?
Ooh. My most newest one would be Sinners.
Who's your cinematic auntie?
Didn't get enough flowers, but I will say Maya Angelou. I was, before I did anything in filmmaking, I was a poet. And when I started to research more and I saw that she's too sat in the director's chair, and saw some of her earlier work, I was just floored at all of the dimensions that she occupies. So yeah, I think the dear ancestor Maya Angelou for sure.
Okay, what's the blackest movie you've ever not made but ever seen? I should say. What's the blackest movie you've ever seen?
Ooh, shoot, probably, what is it, Meteor Man? That felt black as
Okay,
hell. Y'all remember that one?
oh, of course. Robert Townsend came to our festival some years ago. So yeah,
I
for
love
sure.
him. I love him.
Yeah. And then the second of the last questions,
Three
what's your favorite
times.
film? What's your favorite film to cry to?
3 times. Yeah.
Shawshank Redemption gets me every time.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yes,
Mhm.
absolutely.
What's the one role you wish you'd played or directed?
Ooh, that's such a good one. I wish I directed Eve's Bayou.
Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah, I
Yes,
think it's just a perfect film.
it is. It is. Well, thank you so much, Ebony. We're so grateful to have you. As
Thank you,
always,
ladies.
thank you for joining us at the Real Talk with the Aunties with the Gary International Black Film Festival. And we look forward to more and more wonderful news. Keep us in the loop of what you're working on and what you're doing. Keep us in the loop when your film goes to the screen, and then we can get a chance to see it so we can come out and support you. Okay.
Absolutely. Thank y'all. I appreciate y'all.
Appreciate you. Enjoy. Have a wonderful rest of your holiday.
Thank you, Queens. See y'all sooner than later.
See you soon.
Bye. All right, y'all.
Eve's
They doing
Bayou.
it on here. They
I
doing
like
it.
the
I
Eve's
love
Bayou
it.
line. Yeah, Eve's Bayou is a good film. That's a really good film.
Yes, it is. It was just on the other night. I was enjoying Ease by You.
Hello, hello.
Hey, Doc, you done made it.
Glad to be here. Glad to be here. And
Absolutely.
a lot I have heard and appreciate. Appreciate. Uh,
Oh, well, we
yeah.
appreciate you taking the time to never quit because you're a winner and winners never quit.
Hey, no, I don't think I'd be in this position if I quit. I got to keep going, got to keep going, got to keep going. But you have given a
Absolutely.
lot of history. Everybody's given history, but I want to give
Mhm.
a little bit more that I can contribute to how I think some of this all started. When I was
Mm.
younger, okay, I know you didn't ask for this, but when I was started, I love to do makeup. Why did I love to do makeup? Because my parents belonged to a theater group. It was called the Little Theater Guild. And my mother would do I learned to do the art, the makeup through her sessions, and my father was acting. They worked in this, and there was a lot of teachers and professionals who loved acting. So they would get together once a month at Pulaski School and start doing acts, and acting and put on plays. Because it was segregated, you couldn't go anyplace else except to Roosevelt at the time or Pulaski School. So they would put on these plays and invite the whole community. And of course, I mean, they were plays that Sidney Poitier was in, or Diana, or I'm trying to think. There were so many Black actors and actresses at that time, which could not be seen in other institutions around Gary. So, and I think, Tony, later on, even though my mother was a teacher, she loved acting and worked with Mark. First, she went to West Side, and that's when they were building the school. And they had asked her, what did she think would contribute to the, I guess, the acting and the cameras, and how that she went all over the country looking for the best schools that had, I guess, recording studios and cameras and things, and wanted to implement that in Westside High School since she was going to be there. So that was another institution. And then when she was with Mark and you, and they started putting on plays there, that was really her forte. So I personally have been in the arts since before birth, since before birth.
Dr. McCullough, you're absolutely right because your mom, as well as your dad, because he was principal when I was at Frable. But when I was in my youthful days, your mom made sure we would be in her basement. And she had a friend, Miss Joan Myers Brown, who's the dance director for Philadelphia, which is the feeder school for Alvin A. Lee. And
Mm,
she sent us out there. And we practiced in her basement. When I tell you we practiced and we practiced, she's like, y'all not gonna go out there and embarrass me. It was myself, Nina Turner, Ronald January, and I can't remember who the fourth person was. But those schools, and she gave Gary got hurt because
Yeah.
what people don't realize is that they prefer shorter dancers.
Mhm.
I've always been very tall. So Miss Joan Myers Brown, she didn't hurt my feelings by trying to tell me that I didn't fit into their picture. Nina was so shapely, she really tried to destroy each one of us, but we come from Gary and still don't bend.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
And so
Exactly.
we remained there. And when your mother sent us out there, I think they were in for a rude awakening because no matter what they threw at us, we remained steadfast in doing what we came to do on behalf of Miss Frankie McCullough. You are absolutely right. I literally forgot about all those
Uh,
years,
yes. Yes.
years
I
and
mean,
years.
and it's so funny because at the house, all those costumes came from clothes that we had and we grew out of. And to this day, those clothes are still there. I said, we got to get rid of it. I mean, coats that she and my
I
father
can
might have worn
believe it.
through the 30s or the 20s. So
That's right.
it's been there. It's been there all my life. And I would, want people to know Gary is this place. Gary is the place. You
Yeah.
know, you can't
Rich in
go
arts and
anywhere.
culture.
You cannot go any place
Absolutely.
without knowing somebody from Gary. I
That's
just
true.
came
You're
back from
right.
Africa. I just
You
came back from Africa, and there was somebody there
yes.
who said, "You're from Gary, Indiana." I said, "Yes, I am." They said, "Oh, I'm telling you, it's just enigma. We are fantastic, and we have to let our
Yes, we
students
are.
know that. We let the people know how great we are and what we have presented and what we can do, and the arts. The arts are really what we miss. A lot of
Yeah.
kids don't get that. You know, they are just
Yeah.
let's see what tests we can have, and let's try and pass the test. But we need the music, we need the play, we need the arts, we need the drama. We need to know that we can go and do makeup, for these
Yes.
movies, that we can
Yes.
do the sound system for these movies, that
That's
we
right.
can
Yeah.
direct these movies as you have shown, with your clientele. We need to let them know, and you have done a fantastic job. I can hardly wait when the next GIBFF comes through.
Dr.
I'm
McCullough,
gonna
I
get
have a
it right.
question for you.
They ain't gonna call
Yes,
me
ma'am.
out.
So here's my question. How do you
Doc,
think
you
that
have
Gary raised such creative people? How do you think that happens?
You know, People look at it as something being bad, but segregation was what we needed. We did the best. Gary had the best in every school, in the teachers, the professors, the um, I'd say the ministers. We had the best, and we produced the best. We passed it on. But I think one of the problems, technology has taken over a little bit. In We don't have a lot of the old school. Am I saying that right? The old school really
yeah,
had us, and we were sticklers at it. Those teachers, the everybody was a real stickler, and we
yeah,
produced great people. Avery Brooks was in my class. And I talking Tommy Hicks. All of these were classmates of
yep,
mine, and they have since gone on and done great things, and it's all as a result of where the baseline, the fundamentals, the foundation that we had here in Gary, Indiana.
absolutely. I appreciate you, Doc. You know that. You are such an avid supporter of what we do with this film festival. and born out of a need. Karen's vision that
Right.
why not Gary? And we cannot thank you enough. I mean, you come to the pre-funks, you come to the you guys have spent all 4 days coming into the festival sometimes. You
You know,
come back each night for everything.
exactly. And
And
I
I
don't want
applaud you.
people saying, I don't want people to say, and we don't have anything in Gary. I said, oh, you're wrong. You just don't participate. No,
Yes.
we have something.
Yes.
We have it. Isn't that correct? We have it all the time.
That's
The
correct.
play, you know, and it's just disheartening for me because I go and I see my classmates. I say, well, why didn't you come? I said, oh, nope, I don't want to hear it. We have it.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
there.
I would love it. With other some of our other guests, we've done the lightning round, and I was hoping that we could get Sydney to do a lightning round with you because I would really, I mean, because I consider you part of our film festival family, but I got to be sure, Dr. McCullough. So you got to answer these lightning round questions. Answer these lightning round questions.
Boy, I
We can
tell you.
be
Okay.
sure that you are, in fact, one of us.
So here's some questions for you. I want you to give me your first honest answer. No thinking about it, just like the first thing that comes to mind. Okay, I'm going to give you a this or a that question. Spike Lee or Ava DuVernay?
Ava DuVernay,
A director's chair or acting trailer?
director's chair,
All right.
Okay. Now for grits, is it sugar or salt?
salt,
Okay,
salt,
great. I was getting worried.
We're all holding our breath, Dr. McCullough.
salt. Oh, who put sugar on grits?
Oh, it's a lot of people, a lot of Southern folk.
Yes, they sure do.
So here's another question for you. What was the best Black film soundtrack?
Finding Forrester.
That's a good
That was
film.
Yeah.
that was one. I think that all children, students should see because they're told that they can't, and he went to the school and blew them away.
So
Mhm.
who was your cinematic auntie?
Maya Angelou. I just, it's,
Mhm. Okay.
Love it. It's just
see,
you're the second person to say that today.
really. Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, I just looked, and that was somebody who brought herself up by her own bootstraps, and she made it, and people thought, oh no, no, you aren't going to do it, you aren't going to make it, you know. But she proved that she was the best. She was the
Mhm.
best,
Yeah.
you know, and that I'm just I'm I wish I had met her, but I would think that would be my first auntie. That would be it. Yeah.
So if you were to have someone play you in a movie, who would that be?
Whoopi.
Oh,
Oh,
that was
I love it.
didn't
okay.
hesitate. Didn't miss a beat there.
Whoopi.
I love
Yeah.
it. That was crystal clear.
Yeah, yeah, she tells it like it is. Either you like it or you don't. That's it.
She's been
Like
in the
her, like
game for a long
She's
time, and
very
also,
she's phenomenal.
right. I
mhm.
like
Yeah.
Whoopi. I like Whoopi. And she has.
She's
I
definitely a
mean,
phenomenal.
sometimes she's comical. I mean, that comedy. You know, most people don't know that about me, but I comedy. You know, but Whoopi would be that person.
No comedy in the operating room, right? You're all
Yeah.
busy.
Yes, I
All busy.
do. That's what makes it so much fun. Comedy, the music, get it?
Go on, girl.
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
I love it.
after
I
all
love
those,
I
just
love
sitting
it.
there, just standing there with your hands, doing stuff all the time, that gets boring. So
Yes,
the
yes.
music,
You
Yeah.
the
gotta bring
music
joy.
gets you
Bring
going.
joy
Yes,
wherever
it
you
brings a
go.
lot of joy. A lot
Yeah,
of joy.
and it's the same with the film festival, Dr. McCullough. We love seeing you come. We know you're there because you love us. We know you're
I'm
there also because you love film
I love
and
film.
stories. Yeah, and
I
so
love
it's
film.
Yeah.
always a pleasure to have you to see your face coming in the door. It's almost like it's like I feel like I can relax now because we've delivered what we said that we were going to deliver,
Hmm.
and the proof is you coming in the door.
Yes.
Yes, yes. I'm gonna be there. I will be there.
Yeah.
Hell or high water, I will be there. And
Yes.
I
But
appreciate.
thank you,
And
Dr.
we thank
McCullough.
you
Thank you
always
so
for your
much.
support.
Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you for having
We
Thank
me.
you.
really
Thank you.
appreciate you.
Aunties. Something I'm working on, but it's not pertaining to the arts. And it's, I see our young ladies some ladies need assistance. They need some place to go. So working on
Yes.
a shelter. There aren't any shelters. So that's what I'm working on now. And I think it's going to come to fruition pretty soon.
That's
Awesome.
amazing, wonderful.
That is, that is
Yes,
wonderful.
Hmm.
We need that. Thank you so much for
definitely.
the vision.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank
Thank you.
Bye
you.
bye.
I have a couple of lightning round questions. Don't think too hard. Don't try to explain your answer. Just say the first thing that comes to you. We already know that some of us in this room likes to put sugar on their grits, so we're gonna avoid that question today. So I'm curious. So I just want to ask you. Here's the question: Spike Lee or Ava DuVernay? Ludine.
Oh, all day. Ava all day.
Spike.
So, oh, Spike. Okay. Tony.
I'm such an no explanation. Spike.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, let's go with director's chair or
Oh,
acting trade.
hold on, niece. Hold on,
You
niece.
forgot
What?
Karen.
What's
No,
that?
no. We forgot
You
Sydney.
forgot Karen.
No, we
Karen
forgot
said it.
Sydney.
Karen said
Oh,
Ava.
Oh,
Karen said
Sydney,
Ava.
what
Oh,
about
you asked
you?
me? Oh, well, neither one of, I mean, I would say Ryan Coogler all day.
here we go.
Coogler
See,
all day.
see.
Coogler all day.
Okay, all right. Wow.
It's not even, it wasn't even an option, but I was like, most people won't, but I feel like Coogler is more my, he can do both independent and he can do mainstream. He honors black women, full stop. So I'm good with that. Moving on. Let's talk about
Okay.
director's chair or
Okay.
acting trailers.
Can I say both?
Sure. You can say both.
Both.
Okay.
Both.
Ludine,
Acting trailer.
Karen,
Yeah, I actually have the uh, infamous pleasure of having been a director, and I would much rather be an actor, but I'm a lousy actor. So I don't know which. I'm a lousy director and lousy actor. So I will just go
you're good at
neither.
producing though. You could have said
Yeah,
producer.
producer. There we
I
go.
don't know. For me, I know this sounds crazy, right? Because I do directing and I also have I have the gift of gab. I'm a yapper. I'm a certified yapper. But I would say cinematography.
Oh yeah,
It's not an option, but it is something
yeah,
I
yeah.
admire about the art of filmmaking. Okay, so let's talk about the best black film soundtrack. The best black film soundtrack. I'll give you 5 seconds. Think of the best. And while you all are thinking, I'm gonna just say mine because I already know my favorite movie is The Last Dragon, and I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. But you think because The Last Dragon is the ultimate film. It has the love interest. It has the action. It has the hero story. It has the conflicts. It has the fashion. It has the music. That was a very good soundtrack, as a matter of fact. Stevie Wonder is on that soundtrack. He's got it's a whole bunch. It's just a dope movie. So whenever it comes out, and I believe this is the 40th year that The Last Dragon is out, it is my favorite. I'll go see it every time. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. Timok was like the man back then in the day. He was the man. Okay. I was 8 years old looking at him like he fine. And I was not supposed to be looking at no man talking about he fine. But I thought Timok was the finest black man I'd ever seen in my life. Okay. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. So now that we've come up with
Okay.
my favorite film, my favorite movie, and Vanity, of course. Okay, Vanity killed that role. She played that role, and just the whole cast was dope. So, what is the best film soundtrack? Karen, I'm gonna start with you.
I'm sitting here writing because there's so many. Um, what I will tell you, the one that made the most impression, when the soundtrack just really kind of grabbed me as a little girl. I went to the State Theater and I saw Shaft,
I was gonna
and
say, I was hoping
whole,
That
somebody would
was
say
what I was
Shaft.
gonna say.
just the whole, it was amazing. But in my heart, the one that I love, and can listen to with or without the film is Claudine. Curtis Mayfield killed that soundtrack,
Mhm.
absolutely
Yeah,
destroyed it, and made me feel every single feeling, in that movie. And yeah, so Claudine. Shaft is the one that really just shifted my whole world, and Claudine is the one that is closest to my heart.
Yeah, when we were Shaft is mine as well because I'm a clarinetist.
Mm.
So, when I'm listening to the orchestration, how it's composed, that, you know, it's just like Aretha Franklin and the orchestras and her songs, all of that grasps me. But what I gotta go with now that moves me even more is the soundtrack from The Harder They Fall.
Yes,
mm,
that's a good one.
okay, okay, yes.
I love it.
Okay,
I
Udine,
love it.
what's
I
yours?
can watch it over and over, listen to that soundtrack, baby. Yeah, they
Okay,
get me every time.
what about you, Udine?
So my first love is Curtis Mayfield, Claudine, The Makings of You specifically. And I actually used to sit with the album and just look at it. Now, however, because of my favorite film is Lady Sings the Blues,
Mm,
that's my
okay,
soundtrack.
okay,
And I'm skipping
all right, I'll give that
back.
to you. I'll give that to you. So the final question before we close out is, who is your cinematic auntie? Who is your cinematic auntie?
Ooh. Hmm.
So I'll go hands
Yes.
down. Mary Alice. She was the mother
Oh
in
yes.
Sparkle. She was
Yes.
the mother in yes, Mary Alice. That's my auntie. Go look her
Hmm.
up.
And Mary Alice was from Chicago. So she has ties to the region in some ways.
Cinematic auntie. Well, I'm a woman of
Hmm.
a certain age, so if I be calling out aunties who are younger than me, I think they may, we may, if I try and curate their film to the festival, they'll be like, you called me your auntie, and I am not.
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. I'm like,
So, like,
well,
unless we
I'm gonna.
unless we go like Cecily Tyson, or somebody like that, and I will. I was thinking directors, but just as in, industry folks, I would have to go with her, Cecily Tyson.
Yes. Oh, You took mine.
Oh, I'm keeping it. So you gotta come up. You can come up with somebody
Oh, I got to
else.
think of another one. Okay, I'll think of one, but I will say just a little shameless plug. I worked with her, so she was
Mm,
definitely like an auntie. She really like took me in. She made me dinner and made me juice. We would like drink juice every day for rehearsal. And she would like bring me back my
Yeah.
glass and I'll put some more in there. I just love that about her. She was one of the greats. One of the greats. What about you, Tony?
Well, I kind of mentioned mine earlier, but they're going to be like, what? Because I am
Mhm.
strictly from when movies were movies and when they had to really be creative and didn't have all the bells and whistles. I am a Bette Davis girl. I'm sorry.
mm,
But
mm,
yes, I mean, when I think about the barriers that that woman made, and for the past 2 months, I've just been entrenched in all of her work and didn't realize that her filmography is well over 100 and something films, clean up into this century.
Mhm.
mm,
And I know how Hollywood thought that she was not the star or the glamour, but what I got from her as a thespian and, just looking at films was she intentionally took on roles that would transform her, that would age
mm,
her. And I remember
mm,
reading something where she said she did that so that if she lived long enough to age, people wouldn't be shocked, according to Hollywood standards back then, because everybody is so into trying to pour into maintaining this youthful appearance. But the woman is
mm,
bad.
mm,
She's bad. And
so bad.
I think a lot could be said, and I think a lot of people have, drawn from her skills, but that's as a whole. But I like Karen. There was a few of them I was thinking of. I'm older than them, but I was thinking, okay, they might be a little bit upset because we are reaching out to people. So I'm going to stay safe. And I too had a relationship, and as a dancer with the Maya, no, Dr. Angelou, and
Mm,
I learned a lot from her, up close and personal, you know, and so yeah. But Bet and Maya,
I love that. So, and I would say, out of my, I don't know, my first reaction was Cicely Tyson, but then I thought about someone who doesn't get enough credit in terms of her acting is Bia Richards. I think she would be a really cool person to hang around with because she would have been like, I'm gonna
absolutely
give you the real.
good.
She just seemed like she had that essence about her, but she was so grounded in culture
Yeah.
and love and like community that I just felt like she would just be one of those people you can learn so much from. So Bia Richards was mine. So we gotta
I,
kind of
Absolutely.
close up our conversation today. But I wanted to kind of get your thoughts on, just where we are right now. Just kind of give us where do you see ourselves in the next 15 years with our GIBFF Film Festival? Where do you see us in the next month when we bring on the Real Talk with the Aunties again? Mujine, what are your thoughts about where do you see the festival going? Where do you see our conversations going? And what are you looking forward to?
What I'm most looking forward to, the visionary that I surround myself with this festival. I'm always excited about the ideas that come and surprise myself in addition to the community.
Tony, I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, my thought hasn't changed since day one, and I hear Karen telling me every time I say, you can't put the genie back in the bottle. And I'm like, no, we can't. She's like, no, you can't. So my vision for this festival, because of my love for this community, is that it continues and that it becomes the economic engine that will grow what we need in this community. I've always said that our festival will be to Gary what Tribeca was and is to Harlem. So I still hold true to that. You know, when you go back and get on our GIBFF.org page, you will see who has been here. And we will continue that, because I was about to be silly. I was about to be silly. I had to stop myself. I don't know if I can say what I was about to say, but we do bring them to the yard, y'all. Well, we do bring them to the yard.
Yes.
Our milkshake brings them is better than
Now you see why. Now you see why I love this woman and I love these other three women. Is because it's a real family, and yes, our milkshake does bring the filmmakers to the yard. At least that is my hope, and I feel I feel like, the next 15 years belongs to the next generation. The next generation of people
yeah.
who want to come together to, hold this thing together. I've said to the team, and I'll say it here, is, our job is to make a way and then get out of the way.
Yeah,
And so I'm really looking
absolutely.
forward to, one of the things that, and I just want to call Saida Holt's name one more time while we're here, one of our founders who's no longer with us. One of the when we sat down to create what is now the Gary International Black Film Festival, we always knew that we wanted it to belong to Gary, and we wanted the people of Gary to embrace it, and we cannot be more honored in the way that the Dr. McCulloughs and the Sharon Mallorys and all of the people in Gary who come year after year. And, it's like folks that haven't even seen each other since the last time they were at the film festival. So, we know this is a thing that Gary loves. And what I am looking forward to in the next 15 years is for Gary to continue to embrace this and maybe one day I'll show up to the Gary International Black Film Festival as a guest because all the hands and all the love and all of the people in the community have put their stank on it, and it belongs to Gary.
There you have it, everybody. I think Sharon has said and created a sentiment that we all agree on. You are witnessing the first venture of our Real Talk with the Aunties. I can't wait to get even more salacious in our conversations at some other time. But today we're being real cute. But we're not gonna be cute for long, okay? Everybody get ready for the real talk with the Aunties.